welcome back to Show and Tell, everybody. We are continuing our theme of media franchises, and I took the easy route and did Marvel. And Tony, what are you gonna talk to us about? What are you
Oh,
telling me about today? Because
before we get started, I have to make sure that I'm hydrated on today's episode.
I didn't even crack mine. Oh wait, is that a berry?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, wait. Introduce the rest of the show. Give me a second.
All right, so hey y'all, it's Show and Tell with Tone and Tone. I'm Tone. That's Tone running to I hope get a liquid death. Um, Things are winding down for us on season two. We're in our second to last episode. Last week, we began our kind of two-part response to the dice roll for media franchises, and Tone talked about the state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, kind of going from all the way from the beginning, 2008's Iron Man, um, all the way up to Ant-Man Quantumania, which we went to see a couple of weeks ago. Um, there it is. And while Antonio pops the lid on that beautiful Buried Alive, housed securely in a liquid death paper bag koozie, I'm pleased to
It
report that on
fits.
today's episode, I'm going to be talking about one of my personal favorite media franchises, that being the Coheed and Cambria Extended Universe.
With the shirt. Dog
I'm
came
all in, bro.
came dripped out.
I made a whole outfit decision on my work day based on recording this episode.
I love it. I love it. Did the students appreciate it?
Well, I was wearing a sweater because it's like 20 degrees out here.
Bad excuse. Question before we start. How
Sure, man.
often would you say that people know what Coheed and Cambria is when you talk about it? Or do you not talk about it?
Um, no, I talk about it a fair amount, and in fact, that's going to be a plot point for one of the artifacts that I'm
That we can see you
bringing
fiddling
into.
with?
There we go. That I'm bringing into our discussion today. Um, but I think that Coheed and Cambria is a progressive rock and roll band. They've been active for 20 years now. Their debut album, Second Stage Turbine Blade, came out in 2001. Um, and their biggest hit, their kind of like mainstream hit, was on their third album.
Oh my
Um,
God, got all of
Good
them.
Apollo, I'm Burning Star for Volume One, From Fears Through the Eyes of Madness. And that song is Welcome Home, which is a pretty standard like progressive rock, heavy metal guitar song that got a lot of play on MTV. It was popular on alternative rock and classic rock, and kind of like just your kind of go-to rock and roll commercial radio station. So that was their big breakthrough. If people who don't know Coheed, it's usually that song.
Yeah,
But
that's their
they're
mainstream
enjoying,
hit.
they're in a really a sweet spot with a band who's been at it for 20 years, which is where they have this fervent fan base who are just all in on everything that they do, but they have enough kind of like mainstream cachet that they can sell out like a tour of like mid-sized venues. Like for example, in Chicago, they play at the Riviera, and they sell it out every time they come through Chicago.
I haven't been to the
So
Riviera yet, but I've
um,
heard.
it's a beautiful rock hall. You got to see a show there. You should go see Coheed when they're there in May. But they have a lot of connections with other like alternative prog rock and kind of metal adjacent bands. So something that they've been doing in the last maybe 5 years is doing a co-headlining tour with like another legacy emo or rock band. Like they did a tour with Taking Back Sunday. They've toured with Under Oath. They've toured. I know you don't know, but our viewers know what I'm talking about. This is answering the question that you asked, you idiot.
No, 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 no. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm trying so hard. So I told you that I wanted to read this before we recorded this. Um,
Yeah,
Amory Wars, Second Stage Turbine Blade,
that's
uh,
right.
the graphic novel based on the first record. Dude, I have been like I can't follow along. There's so many characters, so many name like, and they say the names and everything, and I'm just like, I know it's supposed to be confusing because it's like kind of dropping you
Well,
into, well, like this one
not supposed to be confusing.
because it's not told in oh my god,
Linear
linear. I was
fashion.
gonna
Yeah.
say in linear, but that's not how you'd
I
say it.
like, yeah, no, listen, I'm not going to knock you. I'm not going to be a gatekeeper. I'm welcoming you into the community. And I want you to find your Coheed sea legs however you can. But are you gonna sit here and tell me that the fucking gibberish they vomit at you in like Doctor Strange 3 is any less bonkers than this?
No, but only because I had seen the other stuff that led up to it. This I felt like I was getting dropped in the middle of the whole world,
Well,
which
if
here we
you
are.
like,
That's
if
what.
you like, I'm happy to talk to you about the 32 movies you need to watch to understand the first comic book. Can I do that?
The CCEU.
Well, actually, it's just called the Amory Wars. The Amory Wars is the name of the Big Ten, which I'm gonna sort of expand on here in a little bit. So can I dive in?
Yes,
I got it all, I
yes,
got
yes,
it all
yes.
laid out.
Sorry.
Okay,
I
so
you came prepared, unlike me in my in my
I
last
don't have a
attempt.
PowerPoint, so I mean, whatever.
You have a
If you
second
if you
screen.
if you mash up these two episodes, we have one very articulate presentation. Um, so okay, so Coheed and Cambria, they're a progressive slash emo rock band with like kind of metal, but also like alternative rock. That's kind of their sonic genre.
Gotcha.
Um, their debut album, Second Stage Turbine Blade, is kind of like their most punk and emo album, and diehard fans of the band, like people who were like there going to see them at the VFW Hall in Nyack, New Jersey, kind of knew that the lead singer of the band, Claudio Sanchez, had like a sort of science fiction conceptual storyline that aligned with the music. Not too
Oh,
long,
okay.
not too long after the first album dropped, we got the beginning of the release of the Amory Wars comic book, starting with the first album, Second Stage Turbine Blade, which our intrepid host Antonio has started reading. And maybe when we come back in season 3, we're going to talk about this like, oh, you can't see that at all on my screen. We're going to talk about this like beautiful, pulpy, convoluted comic.
I I really like, for as complicated as it is, because I only got like 4 chapters in. As so when you sold it to me, um, what one of the songs is about him killing his kids, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's horribly depressing. And reading
yeah,
it, I was like, it makes a little bit more sense, but it's
sure.
still horribly
So
depressing.
I don't want to, I want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
give.
yeah. You don't want to go too far. Sorry.
Well,
This
no,
is
I mean, I wanted to give like the sort of a brief summary of the like story component, but it's important to remember that with these, you can read the comic book and have never listened to the band and appreciate it if you're into that kind of story. If you're into emo and alternative rock music, you can listen to the album and never know that it's a science fiction concept record. So these, I'm going to talk about these like they're intimately connected, and but really they're parallel. It's there if you want it, but you don't have to have it. So
oh,
the
okay. It's additional.
story,
It's additional, not supplemental.
yeah, exactly. So the story of Second Stage Turbine Blade is that the titular characters of the Amory Wars universe, Coheed
Coheed
and
slash Cambria.
Cambria, are a pair of iRobots, which are sentient robots. They're kind of like the Terminator in Terminator 2.
Are they like that movie with Will Smith, I Robot?
No, because they like are organic. They grow
Oh,
like
oh,
human
oh.
beings.
Gotcha.
Um, and we know prior to the beginning of Second Stage that Coheed and Cambria were part of a trio of iRobots known as the KBI. KBI
Yes,
stands for knowledge, Beast,
Beast.
and Inferno.
Yes. Okay.
Cambria, she is knowledge, Coheed is beast, and Jesse is Inferno. And we're going to talk more about Jesse in the second and third album. But in second stage, it's really a story that begins with Coheed and Cambria enjoying domesticity. They have kids, they've retired, they're not killing machines anymore, though they are still inside them, literally killing machines, which is bad
Yeah.
because the villain of the Amory Wars universe is this dude named Archmage Wilhelm Ryan. And he and his evil crony, Mayo Dettenwolf.
Which I thought was such a wild, like everybody had such a cool science fiction name, and then when we were introduced to Mayo, I was like, could have
Well,
given
it's
that one.
funny when you listen to the album, there's a song where Mayo gets a name drop in a lyric, and the lyric is like, I need Mayo, which is a little silly. But so they release this parasite, this kind of like bio weapon
Hmm.
via dragonflies, which sting Coheed and Cambria, kind of reactivating their like killing spree iRobot disposition.
Oh, their
And
sleeper cell.
they are deceived into believing that their children are going to grow up to kill the world.
Yeah, that's as far as
So
I got. That's like where.
so they in order to save humankind, in order to save the Amory galaxy, they kill their children. But one of their children escapes.
Yes.
Which brings us to Coheed and Cambria's second album, In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3, which is
Wow.
also narrativized in the second Amory Wars book,
Oh, dude, that's such a pretty book.
also called In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. Now, the story of In Keeping Secrets, we meet Claudio Kilgannon, who is the only surviving son of Coheed and Cambria, who has been on the lam. In fact, we meet him literally in a gutter on a planet called Rotterdam. And it is how it sounds. It's a real shithole.
It's.
And
I was gonna say
he's
it sounds
he's
like a shithole.
he's poised to be a reluctant hero. He's hiding from his destiny. He thinks he doesn't know that his parents were deceived, so he like hates his mom and dad for killing his siblings. And
Fair.
during his adventures in the album and in the book, Claudio meets a character named Ambelina, who is my favorite character in the Amory Wars saga. And Ambelina is kind of like this guardian angel. She's a species called prize, and the prize, their whole job is to protect the keywork, which is the name of it. It's
It's
like
like
our
the energy
Milky
that
Way.
keeps. It's like the energy that keeps the Amory War universe together. Because what
Yes,
there's like all
I'm trying to
there's
see if I can find a picture of it.
so
Cool.
in the first trade, there's a picture. I think it's literally in like the first couple of pages where there's like the triangle of planets
Yes.
connected through the web of keywork. I was gonna ask you what the prize were, but I mean you just explained it.
Yeah, that's what the prize were. And the
It's literally
keyword,
on the second page. Here, I got you.
yeah,
This
I should have what?
should have made a PowerPoint.
Yeah, I should have. You're right. I blew it. Yeah, so that's the keyword. And those are the 70, is it 78 or 76 planets?
Uh,
And those planets, united by the keyword, make up the galaxy, which is called Heaven's Fence.
78.
78, yeah. And
Wow,
the
that's impressive.
prize, their job is to protect the keyword, which in turn protects all of life, because it's not just people, there's aliens too. Question.
Is the keywork like an energy or is it like a thing?
It's like an energy, but it's a tangible energy, which we're going to learn about in 4 albums.
Oh my. This is just like the MCU. It's like,
So at the end of In Keeping Secrets, Claudio and Ambelina, that's her name, Ambelina, they link up, and Claudio kind of reluctantly accepts that he is going to be the hero of the story. He's going to take responsibility. He learns via an encounter with his uncle Inferno, aka Jesse, who says, "Hey kid, you got it all wrong. Your mom and dad were lied to, and we're gonna go kill the motherfucker that lied to them." And at the end of A Deep
Mayo.
Secrets, Claudio is like, "Let's get these bastards." Which
Ooh,
leads us
to the third
to a
album,
brief detour on Coheed and Cambria's third album, which I already said the name of, so I won't repeat it for the sake of our viewers.
which is
Um,
crazy because for the viewer, for the listeners, this is Roman numeral 3 or
yeah,
4. This is Roman numeral 4,
this
not
is
3.
their third album, which has a 4 in the title. Now,
Hate it.
in terms of the third album having a connection to the Coheed expanded universe, it's very interesting because when this album came out, concurrently a graphic novel came with it, but the art style was very abstract. It did tell the same story, but it was kind of loosely connected to the Coheed and Cambria Claudio Amory Wars story. It was really really abstract and kind of avant-garde in a way. I actually don't even have a copy. It's really hard to get, and TBH, it's not that good. Luckily, in 2017, they released the third edition of the Amory Wars, which anthologizes Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4 from Fear Through the Eyes of Madness.
And
Now,
that's the
this
third.
story,
That's third or fourth album. Sorry.
this is third album.
Okay,
So this
gotcha.
is the comic book for the third album. And this is interesting because it continues the story of Claudio and Ambelina's battle against Wilhelm Ryan, Mayo Dettenwolf, and the Evil Red Army. However, the story takes a metaverse detour into exiting the Amory Ward's universe and being about the author of the Amory Ward's story. So in this book, and also in the lyrics of this album, we not only are hearing about Claudio and Ambelina's adventures in the fight against the Red Army, we're also hearing about the author of the story and his trials and tribulations. And I don't want to spoil it or get into it because we only have 45 minutes, not 10 days. Um, but what ends up happening is the author of the story crosses the bridge into the Amory Wars in an event which the story refers to as when the fiction meets the real. And they have a confrontation because while Claudio's hero journey is kind of ascending, the author's story, and his name is Ryder. Ryder's story is like descending, it's resolving. And at that intersection, they have a conflict.
And
And
and Ryder is like Claudio Sanchez, the man, right?
yeah, and another reason
So
why they
Claudio and Claudio.
yeah, and and if you want to talk about it from an autobiographical perspective, when Claudio Sanchez in real life started writing these books, he saw himself as Coheed, but he quickly realized that actually the characters Coheed and Cambria were his parents, were his mom and dad. And just to kind of pull back to second stage real quick, the reason second stage is called what it is because Claudio's real life dad worked in a an auto factory, and the part that
Uh,
he built is
we're
literally
turbine.
called the second stage turbine blade. So that name of the album is a little tribute to how the story shifted from being about him to being about his parents and then going on to being about him. One of the reasons I think that they rewrote the third book is because in real life, Claudio was having some relationship issues. The band was going through some turmoil. The drummer uh, got fired for being a drug addict. And Claudio and his real life girlfriend broke up, which I think is part of why in the album that character gets violently murdered. But
Is that the one with the hammer?
well,
With
there's hammers and all.
oh no,
That's a popular that's
everybody
a
is murdered by hammer.
that's a popular weapon in this universe. But
Jesus.
luckily that kind of full circle moment, Claudio and that girl got back together and now they're married and have a kid. So I think that was part of why they wanted to go back and rewrote it. Chandra is her name in real life. Chandra wanted to like maybe take a crack at editing what
She's
Claudio
like,
wrote about her when they broke up.
win. I mean, winners write the history, and she
And
won.
well, and to that point, her name is Chandra Eckhart. She's a co-author of this book. Eckhart.
Can't can't see it, but I'll take your name. I'll take your word for
Yeah,
it.
she's a co-author of these books now. So I mean, So that was kind of a cool aspect. So that's the third album. Now we leave the third album and into the fourth and final album in the original Amory Wars sequence with Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Volume 2, No World
That's
for Tomorrow.
Jesus, what a long title. That's such a sick cover.
We
Fuck, that is such
we
a
do
long
not yet
title.
have we do not yet have comic books for volume two. We don't have, there aren't No World for Tomorrow books, but the band is doing a tour this year, like in a month and a half. They're going out on tour where they're going to perform this album in its entirety. And the last time they did that, they released the comic books that year. So hopefully we're going to be getting No World for Tomorrow books very soon. I can
Ooh.
tell you based on fan theories and analysis of the
Fan
lyrics
theory, fan
that
theory.
the final confrontation between Claudio and Wilhelm Ryan occurs in the end of No World for Tomorrow. So we kind of resolve that aspect of the Amory Wars.
Wow, what a great
Uh,
time to be what a great time to join a fandom.
yeah, you picked a good time. So, oh, that looks terrible on the screen. So, here are my. Oh, this is not going to look good anywhere, I don't think.
No,
So I have
it's just the plastic.
yeah. Well, I never opened it, but I
Don't
have
open it.
Coheed and Cambria
It's
action.
it's mint condition.
I have Coheed and Cambria action figures. Maybe if I bend it down, do they look okay?
Do they
Kind of.
do they come with hammers?
No. Cambria is shooting her signature mind fire, and or Coheed has his big gun.
Oh, so sick.
So those are the first four stories.
Gotcha. Okay,
What we
the
get
first
after
four
that,
albums. Real quick question before we go any further.
sure.
How many people are in the actual band Coheed and Cambria?
That's a great question. The principal members, there's four, is the answer. There's Claudio Sanchez, who is the vocalist, the sole author of the songs and lyrics, the story. And Travis Stever is the kind of the other guitarist. And they've been in the band since its inception.
Oh, okay. So those two
Um,
are the main, and then
well, it gets complicated. So the original drummer is his name is Josh Ephard, and he drummed on the first three albums, and
drummed.
then had a little battle with addiction. He actually came back. He missed the fourth album, but he came back or he missed the fourth and fifth album. So
Because
actually,
how
a
many
fun fact for all you rock and roll heads, Coheed got a new drummer for the fourth album, but because of some complicated record label bullshit, he wasn't able to record on it. And that drummer, his name is Chris Penny. He was in the Dillinger Escape Plan. So he toured with them on this album and he recorded their fifth album with them. But when they were recording No World for Tomorrow, they couldn't use him. So the late drummer of the Foo Fighters who passed away last year, Taylor Hawkins, recorded a lot of drums for No World, which is kind of cool. If you know who any of those people are.
no.
So Josh Ephard comes back after Year of the Black Rainbow, which is their fifth album. And then their bass player originally was a dude named Mick Todd, and he was with them
Sick name.
up through Year of the Black Rainbow, but he also had some addiction problems, and he leaves the band after this album and is replaced by Zach Cooper, who remains in the band now. So the current lineup is Claudio, Travis, Josh, original lineup, and then Zach Cooper. And Zach Cooper's been in the band. Um, well, this will be his 11th year with the band, so he's been with them.
So he's new
He's their newest member, but
in the span of
He's
20
been
years.
with them longer than they weren't with him, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Weirdly
Yeah,
enough, that makes more sense than your whole birthday
add a
explanation.
zero.
Okay, so we're at the fifth Year of the Black Rainbow, and you
Yeah,
said
so
this
you're
was
in
their
the
dad album, or this was his dad album, or is that the next one?
no, I don't. I'm not even talking about that one because it's not part of the Coheed expanded universe.
Oh, so this is just
Good
the
memory though.
the
Good memory.
CCEU.
Yeah. So so Year of the Black Rainbow is very special to me. It was the first album that came out as I was a Coheed fan.
Mm.
So I went all in on it. It's very different. It was produced by the same guy that does production for the Nine Inch Nails. So it's a little kind of less rocky. It's more kind of industrial, darker. Fans hate it because they're stupid, but it's their best album. And I'm not just saying that because these were like my training wheels record.
Fans
In
hate it,
terms
but
of the
they're stupid.
storyline, Year of the Black Rainbow is a prequel. It's about the scientist. No, yes, it's about the scientist who invents Coheed and Cambria and Jesse, who builds iRobots.
Mm,
And that story is relayed to us in the deluxe edition, the limited edition deluxe release of the album, which includes a novelization
mint
of Year of
condition
the Black Rainbow. And you're looking at this and you're thinking, why is that still wrapped in plastic?
because you have another one.
And the answer, Antonio, is because when I was a foolish younger man, I sold my original copy
Fool.
and I had to replace it because it's my favorite Coheed record. This is probably like my favorite Coheed object. And this new unwrapped, this sealed replacement copy of my Year of the Black Rainbow is extra special because
Does that have a
during
tear in
my
it? Does it have a tear in it though?
it does have a little tear in it. But that copy is special to me because during my interview with Ohio Dominican University, they threw me a
Whoop whoop.
curveball question during the interview, which was the chair of the department said, "So what book did you read most recently for fun?" And
And it
I
was
had just
that.
had Ben, and I'd been applying to jobs all year, so I hadn't read a book for fun, and I didn't want to say the truth, which was on my little Kindle, I was reading a PDF copy of Year of the Black Rainbow. But then, and this is all happening in this
This is all
conversation
happening.
with,
This is all happening in microseconds. This is
yeah. And then I thought, you know
flash
what?
cut to that shot of Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover playing cards. That's you. You're like,
Literally, and I'm sitting there like, oh, I can't tell these guys that like the most recent book I read is some dumb science fiction novel based on an album by a progressive rock band. And then I thought, wait a minute,
yes, I
these
can.
people are going to work with me for the rest of my life. I might as like I owe it to them and myself to be real. So I
No such
told them
thing as
about
guilty
it.
pleasures.
Yeah. See? So I told them about it and they were like, oh, that's cool. Tell us more about that. So I talked a little bit more about it. And then during my campus visit, they asked me if I could design any class, what class would I design? And I said I would design a creative writing class about world building in narrative storytelling, lyrics, and poetry using the Coheed and Cambria albums as like a textbook. And
Yeah.
I'll spoiler. I got the job at Ohio Dominican. Go Panthers!
Oh my gosh. Go. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So as a reward, I got
It's like,
I got online and I found a sealed copy and I bought it as like a congratulations gift to myself.
oh, that is awesome.
So that's Year of the Black Rainbow. Year of the Black Rainbow is sick. It's such a good album. The tour was phenomenal. I saw them like 3 times on that tour. Really, really good record. And like I
Wait, you
said,
saw it how many times? I'm sorry.
like 3 times, I think.
Sick.
And like the story, and I crowd surfed for the first time and
I
only time
saw I saw the
on
video.
that tour in Royal Oak, Michigan, before I lived in Michigan.
Gang.
Um, the story, like I said, is about Coheed and Cambria and Jesse being built. The reason that they developed the knowledge, Beast, and Inferno, I see my 10-minute warning, was because a young upstart politician was threatening to like bring fascism into heaven's fence. What was the name of that young upstart politician? Wilhelm
Wilhelm
Reich.
Ryan. Ooh.
So after Year of the Black Rainbow, we take a diversion away from the Amory Wars saga and go into this kind of 2 album because the next album is called The Afterman, but it's a double album. There's Afterman Ascension, and then 6 months later, Afterman
Yo.
Descension came out. And the albums are kind of like a self-contained story. The story is about a scientist named Sirius Amory, who in the deluxe edition, the Sirius Amory Award edition, you get this little certificate and this little commemorative coin about Sirius. And the reason there's an award, and this commemorative coin is because in the story of these albums, it's about the man who discovers the key work.
Oh.
He
So he
discovers the key work. That's kind of the story of these two albums. There isn't a novel that comes along. There aren't Afterman comic books, but in the deluxe edition, you get like a little lyrics journal. And
Oh, that's
Claudio
so
kind of
cool.
like, you look at the lyrics, and then Claudio wrote little notes like,
It's like
here's
his
what's going.
like commentary on it.
Exactly, which
Oh,
is a
that's
really
so
cool way to,
sick.
and there's like concept art. It's a really cool way to tell the story. The story, this is going to sound ridiculous coming from me right now, but the story's a little convoluted, so I'm going to kind of skim it. But basically, Amory, Sirius Amory, when he goes out into space, he gets
Yeah.
sucked into the key work. He discovers that it's like this sentient bridge between heaven and the galaxy. He discovers all the other planets in heaven's fence, and he meets the prize. He meets prizes while he's up there, and he comes back to Earth to like share his findings with the scientific community. There's like a really nice love story kind of entangled in it, but I don't want to get too deep into it. The
Yeah.
Afterman albums, very cool, very exciting. And
Uh,
in the timeline, those are like way, way prequel to Year of the Black Rainbow.
Gotcha. Like how long of a prequel? Like
Nobody
hundreds?
that's alive in the Afterman are still alive when Year of the Black Rainbow starts.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's like millions of years,
But
or hundred
it's
decades,
significant. Yeah,
decades.
significant.
Yeah, a
Gotcha.
generation or two, I
Gotcha.
think. Um, so that's Afterman Ascension,
Dude, how many albums do they have?
and
Holy
that's
shit.
Afterman Descension. Now, I'm skipping an album. You asked about the Dad album. In 2015, they released a record called um, "The Color Before the Sun," and it's not part of the Amory Wars concept. It's not part of the science fiction saga. It's a real life album. It's good. The songs are fun. I
Yeah.
like when they play them live, but I'm not talking about it because it's not part of the EU.
Fair.
Um, which brings us.
The
Oh,
CCEU.
speaking of the Afterman, I do have a signed copy of the deluxe edition of the CD.
That's tough.
I don't know how well you guys can see that, but let me.
Oh, I could see it. Ooh. Dude, I really like that artwork for the Afterman.
Yeah.
That's
Forgot.
sick.
I'm like, damn, I forgot to fucking. I got all these props and I forgot them. So that brings us to 2018, and the kind of the fate of the Amory Wars saga. We don't really know. The comics hadn't come out for a while. We're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Coheed announces a new album in 2016, or they say, hey, we're working on a new record. They start dropping singles. I don't remember what year, but in 2018, this album comes out, and with it comes the announcement that it is the first act in a 5-act saga called Vaxis. So
Cool.
this album is Vaxis Act
One.
One, The Unheavenly Creatures. And I just want to flip this around and let you guys see the back of it. Well, okay, shit. I guess I have to show you the inside of it because the artwork on this one is sweet. Um, the Vaxis pentology is
Whoa.
hell yeah, and like we got these two here that are in like a prison riot, fucking
Whoa. So are these is this Claudio and oh my god, I can't think of what her name is. The prize.
Ambelina.
The prize.
Well, it's interesting that you mention that. So the Vaxis albums are clearly happening deep in the future of outer space.
Okay.
In the first album, it's not really clear like who's involved or where they fit or what's going on. All we know, and this is kind of coming from the lyrics and also coming from the like deluxe edition novella of the same name, The Unheavenly Creatures. We know that these characters, Nia and Nostrand, are like criminals and they're on the run. They're on this prison planet, which is called the Dark Sentencer, but the core
Sick.
of the planet is exploding, so they're all going to die unless they get off of it. It's
Not
it's
sick.
so dude, it's so sick. It's nasty. Um,
It's so
and
sick. It's nasty.
at the end
I'm
of
I'm gonna say that all the time.
at the end of the first album, I have like 20 more minutes and I only have 4, so you got to just let me
I
grind
got
here.
you. I got you.
Um, so they meet like a being who has like hyperkinetic, can read minds in the future and shit, and he says you guys are gonna have a kid. And sure enough, in the epilogue of Act One, they receive into the world their son Vaxis, which brings us to Coheed's most recent and 10th album. To answer your question from earlier, Vaxis, Act Two, A Window of the Waking Mind. And the story of this album, we kind of reconnect. We reconnect with our heroes, and we're on the run. We have Vaxis. Vaxis is in a coma, and they don't know how to get him out of that coma. So the drama of the second book slash second album is them trying to wake up
Wake up, wake up.
Vaxis. And in the final conclusion of this album, Vaxis opens up a container which is called a quintillion speaker. And the quintillion speaker is holding keywork energy. And when Vaxis opens it, he wakes
He
up,
absorbs
he
it.
gains the ability to speak. You can kind of see here a prize comes out of it, but another thing comes out of the quintillion speaker, which is right behind Vaxis. You see that astronaut?
It's Claudio.
That's my boy, the Afterman,
Oh shit.
who has been like sucked through a wormhole and captured in this quintillion speaker that like caught him and Keywork, which doesn't perfectly orient this story. Like we're still not exactly sure where it is on the timeline because like time travel is happening and all these other complicated things are
Time
happening.
travel's a bitch.
But what we know for sure is that the Vaxis albums are in a multiverse or a parallel universe to the Amory Wars. Now they're connected. Now it's part of Heaven's Fence. And that, my friend, is the current state of Coheed and Cambria and their expanded Amory Wars universe.
I love it.
Me too.
Any final thoughts on second state on Coheed and Cambria that you didn't get out? You have a minute.
Yeah, I'll add one final thing. Claudio started writing the concept during a formative vacation that he took to Paris when he was a very young man. And we know via social media that he is actually right now
In
back in
Paris.
Paris writing.
Ooh.
Is he writing No World Comics? Is he writing the third Vaxis album? We don't really know. But he got up on the internet and was like, I'm working hard, everybody. So we'll see. Where I'm hoping to learn some information during the tour this summer. But yeah, that's really it. That's
Dude,
it's not that complicated. It's just 10
yeah,
albums, 4 books, 2 novellas, a novel, and an art book that has commentary written in it. I mean, how hard is that to follow? What are you, dumb?
jeez. I am so excited to read the next two, hopefully three graphic novels. Because okay, so like I said, I'm super excited to read the rest of these. But yeah, dude, next episode is our season finale for season 2, and I think it'll be another clip show. Speaking of, have you gone through yours?
Yeah.
I have the first episode sitting on my laptop to go through, and I haven't done it. So we'll probably take a week off to go through, get our best ofs, and then we'll be back with the finale of season 2.
If I were to leave our fans with a Coheed lyric, just and maybe you and me as we get ready to get our clips organized, we'll make it if you believe.
I believe.